All right, guys, this update is a update for all of our fuel jugs. We recently had a big ice storm here in North Carolina, and I had picked up some gas. Well, I had some fuel points expiring with my local gas station, and wanted to fill them all up. So I got 15 gallons of 93, and I'm really sick of trying to lift, probably a 30-pound, maybe even 40-pound jug of fuel over your shoulder and try to get it into my truck especially. Last time I did that, I made a huge mess. I had the vent opening, I had it turned too far, and it kind of spilled side of the truck and onto the driveway. Well, I've picked up two things to help us make this a little bit better. First, you guys will see this is a aftermarket jug replacement, basically for the VP Racing water jugs. And you guys will see it's got a not normal top on it. And what that is will basically allow us to use a adapter and basically use the M18 battery to screw onto the top of the fuel jug, and we're gonna have a little gas nozzle. So, and the jug adapter, I got that from Tough Jug. This was over on Amazon. I think it was like $18. I got it in a couple days. Now this is the first time I ever bought anything off TikTok. I actually was looking on the company's website. We'll get that name once we open this up. But I happened to just Google it. They had a link to TikTok, and the TikTok link was $20 off. I was like, well, I don't want to have too much money tied up into the setup, and just by logging into TikTok, I already have an account, saved 20 bucks, and I think shipping was free. I was like, okay. So it was kind of weird ordering something off TikTok. It was actually delivered by DoorDash, which was something weird. I don't use DoorDash at all, so I have an account, but I've never used it, if that makes sense. So yeah, order something off TikTok, delivered by DoorDash. Kind of a weird thing, but hey, whatever works. Save my $20. I'm happy with that. All right, one thing I'll say for TikTok shipping and DoorDash, there's no protection in this box. So, I mean, it's just a little plastic pump. It's not anything we should be too worried about. But, yeah, basically, you guys can see it's a fuel transfer pump. It says for kerosene, gasoline, and light oils and stuff. And there is no company name on here. Yeah, basically, you can buy this through the company's website or through TikTok, like I said. And all right, we got the box opened up. Again, still no company name. Yeah, you guys can see here is the pump. Here's the battery adapter. Let's get this open. All right, here is the pump assembly. You guys can see you've got your battery adapter here. This will slide on to that jug adapter that we just showed you. It's basically got a feed tube with a little pump at the bottom of it. Then you've got the pump tube and this little red handle. That is what's gonna go outside of the jug, and you can put that into your car or truck, whatever you're trying to fill up. So I've put one of my smallest M18 batteries onto the top of the pump assembly. All right, so you got the pump outlet here. We're gonna turn the thing on. You can hear the pump at the bottom of the intake tube that is loaded up. And then if you just squeeze the trigger, that should allow it to fuel. Well, it looks like this is not going to work out. The adapter I bought from Tough Jug and the manufacturer that uses the Milwaukee battery, they're close. You could almost get this to sit in there, but it's not going to work. And I thought the threads would have been the same, but honestly, they're just not exactly right. And, we do have some dimensions. Maybe I can get some information off of the plugs and adapters here. I'm just not seeing it, but that sucks. I really wanted something that would screw right into the top of the VP jugs. There are ones out there, but what they are, it doesn't use the Milwaukee battery. It uses like AAA or something like that. And I wanted something that I would have on hand, and I'm always pretty much going to have an M18 battery charged, ready to go. And that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to combine two different brands, adapters, and everything to try to get this fuel pump to work. So, I mean, you could just stick this into the jug, have this kind of sit there, and it should still work because you are going to submerge the fluid out of it. I was hoping to have something to be a little bit spill-proof, and if we did knock the jug over, it won't flow out the top. But yeah, this isn't going to work the way I had planned. So I'm gonna have to dig into some of the dimensions and see if there's anything else out there that'll make this work. All right, guys, our second adapter cap came in, and what that is, it's the type of cap that will fit on top of the VP Racing fuel jug. You'll notice that this one looks almost identical to the one next to it. It is exactly the same height. Actually, it's a little bit shorter, but you guys can see that the overall opening, the mouth, if that's what we want to call it, is way wider than the previous one that we had ordered. So if you look at the 3 adapters that came with the kit, you will see that we do have this wide one, and that will simply slide right on there and it will screw together. So let's go ahead, get this tight, then we can get that onto here, then we can see if it will fit in the jug. All right, so you'll see the bottom piece that is attached to the pump itself, the little middle adapter piece that we just showed you, and then the new bottom adapter that came in today. And let's hold this up next to one of our VP Racing jugs, and I hope this setup will reach the bottom. All right, so here is our adapter. You guys can see it'll go down about 3/4 of the way to the bottom of the pump. If we stretch that out a little bit, it'll go down a little bit further. So unfortunately, when you start stacking these adapters on top of each other, you're gonna lose some hose space. And with this one, obviously, because we've got, you know, the top fitting, we've got another fitting, and then the fitting from the new cap that we have, we're probably like a solid 2 or 3 inches short. So yeah, you won't be able to reach that last 10 or 15% of the gas. I'll be honest, if we only have to pour out a little bit with using the old school funnels that we have, I'm kind of okay with that. If we've saved 10 minutes of our back of not having to hold anything, I'm down with that. I mean, since I do have 3 of these fuel jugs, I could just use it until it stops pulling gas out and then consolidate all 3 of those jugs into one, stick it back in there, and start the whole process over again. I mean, that is always something that you could do. Now, I will look online to see if there's any serviceability kits for this. I believe it might be, it's not Tough Jug, it's the one that's powered by the AAA batteries. They may sell a replacement pump and a longer hose. I'll just have to check into that. And if I do find something, I'll let you guys know. So we're gonna stick the nozzle into the gas tank. All right, turn our motor on. And it's filling up the tank, so yeah, nothing too crazy here. Just fill up your gas tank like normal, and you'll use as much as you can. Now, I will say this, you do want to be careful with how much gas you are putting in here, because I already have a 3/4 tank full, and a quarter tank, I don't think it's quite going to be 5 gallons. So I'm just going to kind of take our time, fill this thing up, and see how it goes. Alright guys, and to get access to the last little bit of fuel that's at the bottom of the jug, I did take the adapter off, and you guys can see, kind of just stuck that in there. And we filled up a little bit more. Alright guys, there is a little bit of gas down in here. You guys probably can see that, maybe. And yeah, so even with the adapter off, I don't think you'd be able to reach the full bottom of the jug with the cap and setup that you have. Alright, I wanted to show you the clearance between a tonneau cover and the standard height, you know, VP Racing jug with our fuel pump on top of there. Like I said, if you guys have a 22 or newer 1500 or GMC, the pump is going to be too tall for the tonneau cover. So you're going to have to put the cover on here, the normal lid that doesn't have anything sticking out of it, that will seal this up. So you have to put the pump in a bucket or a bag or something. So I did some research last night. I compared to the other vendors out there. People do sell replacement discharge hose, so basically the stuff that comes out of the pump and goes into the car or truck. They sell that, but they don't sell any replacement for the inside of the jug. That is called the suction hose. I saw like aftermarket setups for different pump styles for like basically barrel, 55-gallon barrel drums. They sell expandable things for that, but they didn't really have anything for this corrugated hose, because that's essentially what that stuff is. Now, if you do really want to expand that, all you'd have to do is take that corrugated hose, cut it. You're also going to have to be careful because there's electrical wires in there that goes down to that pump. You're going to have to cut those too, and you'll have to extend all 3. I imagine there's a positive and there's a ground for that pump. So you have to extend that, you know, your 2 or 3 inches, whatever you want, and extend it with some submersible electrical wire and some heat shrink tubing that's submersible in gas. I imagine there's a product out there for that. Use those 2 things, and then for the hose itself, just go get some submersible fuel pump hose and then basically put a hose clamp on each end of that. That should be all you really need. I don't think you'd really need anything else. Really, the only thing I can think of that you'd have to be careful with is your extension hose, whatever you decide to use. It has to be able to fit inside of a gas jug. So whether it's, I think that looks like it's about 3/4 inch thick. So just make sure you stay around the same size. You know, clip it to the suction hose, and I think you should be good. So without a ton of effort, we just put, say, 4.5 gallons of gas in the truck without any major issue. That last half gallon, I swapped over to the traditional hose and, you know, trying to stick that into the hole and try not to make a mess. Well, unfortunately, I had the gas can lid a little too loose, and the stupid thing spilled gas all over the side of the truck, down and onto the ground. I had to clean all that up. And that just proves a point of why I hate filling the pickup truck with these VP racing gas cans, because they always leak. They always just end up spilling onto the side of the truck. I think I have better luck with the Corvette because it's down here. It's not like up here like it is on the truck. So I'll be honest, guys, I don't know if it's worth my time trying to modify this thing to get it to work. We already had to buy an extra gas cap, and that was like 18 bucks. I just wish there was an application out there that you could get this whole kit where you'd use your M18 battery or a DeWalt battery, no adapters needed, it plugged into the VP Racing style cap, and it went to the bottom of the jug. If someone sold a kit that had all those features, I think they would sell it gangbusters. Because honestly, guys, if I'm out at the track, if I'm towing something, if I'm hauling something, if I'm out in the truck, out in the field, I almost always have an M18 battery with me because all of my tools are Milwaukee. So, you know, I'm going to have that with me. And I don't want to rely on some crappy AA battery that might last 6 months. I think I saw people might be getting 10, 15 uses out of them and they have to replace the batteries. That's stupid. You know, that just doesn't make sense in today's world of lithium-ion batteries, especially the kind that Milwaukee or DeWalt uses. So, all right, that's going to be it for the shenanigans with this fuel pump. I've got 10 more gallons of gas I need to pump into the truck. I'll put that in over the next couple weeks. And if we have any issues with it or we decide to expand it with that extension, added a couple more inches to it, we'll let you guys know. We'll film a video and we'll put that on the channel. If you guys want to follow along for that adventure, hit that subscribe button, turn on your bell notifications. If you guys want to help support the channel, check out the links down below, especially for the adapter for the VP Racing fuel adapter to the adapter that fits that particular kit. We'll get you a link for that. And yeah, I'll also try to find a link to the pump itself. I don't know if I'll be able to because like I said, I bought that on TikTok and I don't know where else you can buy that on social media. So also make sure you check out our website, BonecrrusherSS.com. We have plenty of UC6 Corvette parts on there. We got stickers, t-shirts, merch, and all that. And that's going to be it. Thanks, guys. Have a great one.